Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a quick look at what has become one of the best guitars in my collection, the Powers Electric A-Type in Oslo Blue. So the A-Type is the first guitar from a newer company, Powers Electric, which is headed up by Andy Powers, who some of you may know is the CEO and the head designer for Taylor guitars. But this, Powers Electric doesn't really have anything to do with Taylor guitars, other than that. So when I first saw these guitars, I was really attracted to them right off the bat. And the more that I, heard them, and the more that I learned, how they were made and how they were designed, I became even more interested in them. They're extremely well made, and they're made from some really cool ideas and really good parts. In an industry where it's getting harder and harder to come up with something new and or unique, I think Andy really did both with this guitar. I kind of refer to my buddy Steve at Maximum Guitar Works, where my Nelly came from there, my #1 guitar. I often refer to him as kind of like a mad scientist when it comes to, guitar design, creativity, the way he builds things and stuff like that, his ideas. And I kind of think of Andy as kind of the same way, you know what I mean? These guitars really have a lot of features that you just don't really see anywhere else. Now there are several videos, here on YouTube explaining, all the details of this guitar, many by Andy himself. So I won't go super in depth here in this video. But, we're definitely going to take a quick look at it. Like I said, the body is urban ash, and the top is maple, and, the back is like a full, slab of urban ash, and then that's hollowed out. The guitar is fully hollow, except for there are 2 posts that, reside under the bridge. I'll try to get some pictures to show you that. But other than that, the entire guitar is hollow. So it makes for a very, lightweight, resonant guitar. Mine weighs right at 6 pounds, so it's nice and light. But it's a very resonant guitar. When you play it, you can feel it, in the whole body. You can feel it in the neck and everything. And it's really loud acoustically. Listen. That's very loud acoustically. It's a very resonant guitar, super fun to play. Looking at the neck, it's a mahogany neck, and it's got a barely there silky smooth satin finish on it. Really, really comfortable feeling neck. And it's got a Honduran rosewood fretboard and Honduran rosewood, slab over the headstock there. Now I generally like my rosewood to be real dark, but there's something about this Honduran rosewood fretboard on this guitar that, the way it blends kind of with the mahogany neck, I just really think it's really good looking. It almost kind of has like a roasted maple kind of look to it, but like I said, it is Honduran mahogany. Got these cool, mother of pearl inlays. The frets, they call medium jumbo, and they're almost jumbo. Really, really nice size frets. As you would expect on a guitar at this price point, the fretwork on this guitar is superb. The fretboard edges are rolled. The ends of the frets are done perfectly. Super, super comfortable there. I really like the look and the feel of this neck. It's got a rather unique radius. What they call a compound radius, but it's not a compound radius like you would normally think, where it's a little more rounder on this end and gets flatter as it goes up the neck. This is actually more rounded towards the top three strings, and then it flattens out as you get to the high three strings here. So it's hard to describe, but it's more rounded on this side and then flattens out when it gets to here. Very, very unique, but really comfortable. You really have to play it and feel it, to get the whole idea, but just a superb neck. Looking back at the headstock, like I said, it does have, the Honduran mahogany matching cap on it. It's got this cool Powers Electric logo on the truss rod. And I think it's a very, cool looking headstock design. It's getting harder and harder to come up with cool ideas for headstocks. And that's another thing where I think Andy and, my buddy Steve there has done with their headstocks. It's just, really cool looking. And I like that it keeps the string path nice and straight. Now, the guitar would normally come with a really nice set of non-branded, non-locking tuners. Of course, it'll shock no one to know that I went ahead and put a set of Graphtec locking ratio tuners, which I've often said is my tuner of preference here. They're just fantastic tuners. And I put the mother of pearl key buttons, or whatever you want to call them, here on it to kind of bring up, the mother of pearl that's everywhere else in the guitar. And like I said, I think it's a really nice looking headstock, and it's got really good function as well. Another unique touch is the ebony nut here that is cut and slotted, again, as you would expect on a guitar at this price level, perfectly. Down to this end, we'll take a look at the hardware. These are available as a hardtail also, but I went with what they call the camtail version. Now, this may look like a Bigsby, and obviously it definitely resembles a Bigsby, but there are a lot more innovations in this than what you would find, on a Bigsby. First of all, we'll take a look at, where it gets its name from, the camtail. It's like this camshaft where the string slots have been designed for each string, and that allows for the strings to change pitch more consistently and more in tune, when using the bar, as well as drastically helping tuning stability. And another nice touch is the longer pins that are in here. A lot of the people making upgrades for Bigsby's you know, remove the pins and just have a hole for the string to go through. That's one option. And I mean, maybe there's a reason why Andy decided to go with the pins, but what he did do is he made the pins a lot longer, and it just makes it a lot easier to restring. But you know, a very, very innovative, you know, vibrato unit for sure. The arm is its own design, and I like it more. You know, you can go all the way around with it. It doesn't have a, you know, like a block like a lot of the Bigsby's do. And then there's an Allen kind of bolt, Allen head bolt here that you can, if you screw it all the way in, it makes it to where it's dive only, which is kind of cool. I have mine out so it's, you know, free floating. But you know, just a really, really cool vibrato unit for sure. So another cool design is the bridge. Really easy to set, you know, as far as intonation and height and everything like that. A really, really cool design too. Now there are 3 different types of saddles that you can use on this. There's a Delrin, which is like a kind of like a super strong plastic, I guess. There's an ebony, and then there's a brass. Now I know Andy likes the ebony the most. The ebony gives it a really warm, round sound. The Delrin is what mine had on it, you know, from the factory, and I really like it, but I wanted to try the brass as well. And as you can tell, I have the brass on here right now. You know, the brass, I'm really bouncing back and forth, to be honest, between the Delrin and, you know, and the brass. The brass has seemed to make it slightly more aggressive and you know, brighter than the Delrin. The ebony was a little too warm for my tastes. So like I said, I got the brass on here right now. I would say I'm leaning slightly towards leaving the brass on there, but like I said, I really like the Delrin option as well. And these are super easy. You just take, you know, these 2 bolts, you just loosen them, and this will slide out. It's also the way you set the intonation, so it's very, very easy to do. You can take them out or adjust the intonation with the strings. Even at tension if you want. I do loosen the tension, you know, when I'm adjusting mine or I'm swapping bridges out. I suppose you could probably leave them at tension, although it's going to be, you know, harder to get in and out. But just a really, really cool design. You know, it's intonated. So, you know, once you kind of dial in, you know, your E strings, everything else is, you know, is already intonated for you. So, you know, really, really cool design on the bridge. So looking at the electronics of the guitar is kind of where, you know, Andy went full on mad scientist. Master volume, master tone, 3-way switch. And then the pickups. They're available in a partial Faraday, the PF42, which is what I have, the partial Faraday. And then there's an FF42, which is full Faraday. I went with the partial Faradays, the PF-42 pickups, and because everything that I saw said they're slightly brighter and slightly more aggressive than, you know, the full Faraday. Now, basically an easy way to tell them apart, I guess, is the partial Faradays will have an insert that matches the pick guard, whereas the full Faradays have the aluminum, you know, over the whole thing. They don't have, you know, that matching insert. But I liken these to kind of between a single coil and a P90. But they definitely have their own unique, you know, flavor for sure. They're a very, very cool pickup. You really would have to hear them probably in person to get the full effect. But, you know, there are a ton of videos explaining more in depth, you know, the science behind the pickups. And I think Andy does a pretty good job of explaining, you know, what he went for and you know, what he achieved with these these two different sets of pickups. So I urge you to check those videos out if you really want to get behind the science of them and all. But just really cool, unique pickups that, and like I said, have their own flavor and their own character, and I really like them a lot. They are single coil, but there's not really any hum, so that's cool. Really cool sounding pickups though, for sure. And like I said, it's really where Andy went. I mean, there's a ton of innovation in this guitar, but Andy really went mad scientist when it came to the pickups in these guitars. Gang, one thing I forgot to mention was the cool touches here on the on the parts, the switch tip, the two knobs, and the tremolo arm or vibrato arm tip here. They're done out of this. It's kind of like, I don't know exactly what you call it. It's like surfboard resin, I guess. When you're glassing a surfboard, with different colors of fiberglass, I guess it is. The drippings that come off of it and end up on the floor. After a while, you scrape it up to clean up, and you're left with this basically conglomerate of all the different colors. And I'm sure I'm explaining that wrong, but like I said, there's videos of Andy explaining it. But they end up making their own resin basically, and then they create their knobs and tips, out of this material. So, every guitar, the knobs and switch tip and arm tip and everything are going to be unique to the guitar. And they've got several different color variations, so they try to match up to or complement, the color of, the actual guitar. So just another kind of unique touch, that Powers Electric is doing. And a lot of, longtime viewers of my channel probably know that something like knobs and switch tip are usually things that I'll change out to kind of personalize the guitar, to myself. But obviously with this, you definitely don't want to do that really, unless you just hate the look of this. But I don't. I think they're really cool. I think it's like a unique touch, and it kind of adds to the guitar's overall aesthetic. So I really dig it. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. So we'll do some tone samples for you. Of course, that means we're going to do the same riff that we always do. one thing I got to mention as well is it comes with a super nice looking, extremely well made gig bag. It's like made of leather and tweed. A very unique looking gig bag for sure. An extremely high quality gig bag. It probably cost them more to include this gig bag than it would have to include a hard case, actually. The one thing that I think is odd though is there are no pockets or pouches of any kind on the gig bag. So other than throwing the guitar into the bag, you can't, unless you want to put something inside the gig bag with the guitar, which I would never do because it's going to get all nicked up if you do that. But basically other than that, a really, really cool and well-made gig bag for sure. So hopefully you can tell by my modest little quick look video here that the Powers Electric A-Type is a fantastic guitar. Really the only thing that I would personally change is I would give it either 22 or 24 frets. It's got 21 frets. I don't honestly know why modern guitar makers make guitars with only 21 frets, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve of mine, but I would really, really prefer either 22 or even 24 frets, at least 22 though. But I didn't design the guitar, right? Andy did, so there must have been a reason why he went with 21 frets. But other than that, that's the only thing that I would change about the guitar. Now, as of the time of making this video, Powers offers 87 different colors. There's 19 different shades of blue. So that's insane. I mean, I don't know of any other guitar manufacturer offering anywhere near that many colors. But like I kept saying, Andy and Powers Electric have done a lot of different things, a lot of innovative things, and I guess offering that many colors is just something else that they're doing that nobody else is doing. So but yeah, I think that's just an insane amount of color options to have. So it really, I mean, it makes it almost hard to pick a guitar because you look at one color and you go, man, I really like that color, but I like that color too, and I like that color. So I went with the Oslo blue. I think it's I have a lot of blue guitars. I like blue, but I think it's a pretty unique kind of blue that you don't really see a lot. So that's why I went with the Oslo blue. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed checking it out with me. I want to thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.